What's up, folks? Today is going to be an interesting day. I have an interview with my best friend Rex, who is a master at building his own life and figuring out how to manage himself. One of the key parts of the Craftsman's Code that's actually coming up soon. How do you manage yourself? How do you be in control of yourself? Because without being able to be in control of yourself, you are at the whims of pleasures and impulses and etc., and you're not able to build anything, let alone your perfect life that fits you like a glove. So, I had him on because he is amazing at those things. He's amazing at managing himself. He's amazing at self-awareness, which is also part of the Craftsman's Code. And he's amazing at building a life with his own choices and not with the pressures of society. So I appreciate him a lot. Without further ado, Rex Lawyer. Oh, and before I go, please subscribe to this channel if you're getting any value out of it, and like this video, share it with your friends, and I will see you soon in the interview. Holla, holla. What's up, bro?
Hey.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
¿Cómo estás? Good.
That's not how you Spanish, bro. Come on, you know better than that. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Look at that. This guy. Thug life.
Yeah, bro.
That's crazy.
Anytime I say something insightful, we can just edit that onto my eyes.
Hey, man, if you want to put that on your eyes, I'm not gonna step back. So, my friend Rex, we are now recording. We have been, but we're doing it also now. You are a cool cat who is young but motivated as shit, and also building your life brick by brick, metaphorical brick by brick. And welcome to Passion Unchained.
Hello, very happy to be here for. Is this the inaugural interview episode?
No, we've done several interviews, but you are just the latest in an interview of awesome fucking people. So don't be discouraged. Don't be discouraged.
All right, I won't. So yeah, hey.
How did we meet? Tell people.
Yeah, so we met through improv, and we were doing some improv, and I think we went for drinks at a bar afterward with some other improvies, and
like safety.
Yeah. Yeah.
I actually met him at a bar last year, and he was just there.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Who is Safey?
Remember we do that name game where we did I was like Jumping Joe or like Juicy Joe. We had to make alliteration.
Oh yeah.
And he always said he was Safey. Because that was just perfect alliteration. I think what did you might have done Roaring Rex. I don't remember what you did.
Yeah. I normally go with Roaring Rex.
Yeah, I think that was it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's cool. So essentially we met doing that, and I can't believe if we ran first or I invited you to a mastermind or exactly. But let's go ahead and say that it was running first, and then I created a mastermind, and we chatted about business things and improvement, and slowly but surely we became friends.
Yeah, boy.
Woo.
Yeah, Rex is my best friend. We chat. How often do we chat?
At least once a week.
Well, I mean, if voicemail must count as chats.
Yeah, I think that counts. Every 2 hours.
Yeah. Something like that. I was expecting every day, but I guess every 2 hours is pretty accurate. Yeah. You could say it's a bromance or whatever. And you wouldn't be wrong. But I wanted to get you, Rex, on because well, first of all, because my mentor cajoled me into interviewing more people, but also because you are super fucking good at deciding what you want to do with your life and then just doing it. Like you don't like you of all people, um, all the people I know, you are amongst you like tie in top place of how do I make a life that I want because I want it and not because like society tells me to do this. Like you decide things for yourself, which I fucking respect the hell out of. So I guess a question for you that I have is that something that you've always had or is that something that is you developed?
Yeah, that's a great question to start things off. No, I don't think it's something I always had. It probably, I'm still probably developing that skill. Or it's at this point, it's more finding a balance between to what extent do I want to follow society's path, and to what extent do I want to do my own thing. Or
Mm-hmm.
I guess a different way to put that would be, how can I authentically fully follow my own path?
Mm-hmm.
And if that includes some elements of what people normally do, I've come to terms with that being okay. I definitely started at the beginning. I was 18 in high school, and I kind of just decided not to go to college
Wait,
for a
hold
bunch
on a
of
second.
various
You started at the beginning? You didn't start at the end?
reasons. Nope, I did start at the beginning.
Oh, wow. Okay. So that's
Yeah,
step number one, folks, is start at the beginning.
yeah, man. And I did what I think a lot of people do, which is I kind of demonized the regular path. And so if somebody did something one way, I would do it the opposite way, even though that wasn't necessarily maybe in my deepest heart of hearts what I wanted to do. But that's
Mhm.
how I got started. So a regular person would go to college. I didn't go to college. A regular person would get a 9 to 5 job. I was I made the decision not to do that. A
Mhm.
regular person would, have a regular diet, right? For example, not being super careful with their diet.
What's your diet, by the way?
Yeah, I only eat meat, specifically only
Oh,
beef.
fucking all vegans are writing their letters to their congressman to get me kicked out of the country right now.
Yeah. They're unsubbing, they're disliking.
I hope so. I don't want you vegans. No, I'm kidding. You can be vegan and like this channel. It's fine. I will still judge you though. um,
Yeah,
so yeah. So you are. So what you're saying is at first you were a rebel.
exactly. And then
Otherwise,
I've
just like
been
fucking yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, and then I've been working to integrate that and fully go after what I want. And it turns out that some of the things that regular people do, I actually do want, right?
Okay.
Like an example of that would be, I want a tribe, right? I don't actually want to be a digital nomad that travels all over the country solo, which
Yeah.
I would argue would be like the hip thing to do right now. That's
Yes.
counterculture, but that's not me. So that's an example of me not just doing not just taking the easy route,
Yeah.
but
I can
also
tell you from
integrating.
experience that being a digital nomad is quite lonely. It's very, very lonely. So I can understand why some people would not want that. You want to like you like people, you like things around you and stuff.
Mhm.
For those who are listening on the podcast, I just took sweet potatoes out of the toaster and I'm blowing on them to make sure that they're not burning my insides.
Hey Joe,
Yes,
remember that one time when I was eating food
I knew
in the
exactly
middle of
what you
that
were going to say.
message?
Do you not want me to eat food while I talk to you?
No, dude, this is an interview. This is legit. It's as legit as you make it.
So no, you do care, or no, you don't care.
I do care. Come on.
Okay,
Like
then
let's
I
treat this
won't.
like a thing.
All right. Thanks for letting me know. I'm putting this aside. It's over there. It's in my line of sight. Actually, I'm gonna take it out of my line of sight.
So you don't unconsciously just
behind the couch. Yeah, Rex had sent me a voice message. Was it? I don't know. It was sometime this week, and he was eating, and it really bothered me. And I told him, "Don't send me voice messages while you're eating." And I mean, the thing is, like, it's not a. This is another thing that, like, I actually learned a lot from Andy, is that it's not equal. It's not like relationships aren't like equal. Relationships aren't like, I want this, you have to do the same thing for me. It's like if I don't want you to eat while you're talking to me, then I can ask for that. But it doesn't mean that I can't eat while I talk to you unless you want that as well. I'm trying to fucking articulate it. It's like, I might want it, but you might not care. But if you care as well, like, then, you know,
absolutely. Yeah.
It's not by default expected that it be both ways, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, that's a really wise point that Andy made. And yeah, I don't want you to eat right now, not because I want to be equal. Equality is important. It's more like,
I'm saying this for the benefit of the listeners. I know you.
Oh, yeah. No, I hear
you.
you. I'm just also explaining for the benefit of the listeners. Because for me, like, I'm just explaining where my mind goes with this, right? Like, if somebody shows up late or somebody isn't paying attention to the conversation, regardless of what they're doing, eating or scribbling or thumb twiddling, to me, that's a boundary I have, because I like my time. I think my time is valuable, and so I want people to treat me the same way.
I love thyme. I also love rosemary too. Those parsley and sage are nice.
I'm gonna have to get you. There's like a creepy version of that song that's so good. That's so good.
Sounds good. I was listening. I fucking love The Sound of Silence by Disturbed. That cover. Oh my god, it's so intense, dude. You know what? You know what? I can never get out of my head.
What?
I can never get out of my head. Fucking thinking of Thanos when I hear that. The Disturbed version. Like, it just sounds
silent.
Yeah, just the voice. It's like the same voice as Thanos. It was like Josh Brolin. And like, I think of, like, I hear that song and I can just imagine this big purple Titan dude just like singing it.
You know, I bet there's a video out there of somebody lip syncing Thanos to that song.
There has to be. The sound of silence. Fucking amazing. So, in the words of, sorry, I'm just trying to fill the silence. I didn't
fill the sound of silence.
Yeah.
Boo!
I don't like the sound of silence. It makes me think of myself. It makes all my insecurities come up, and then I get sad and weird. I sent you a voice memo earlier today because I'm curious. You do this thing which I think is like, part of me thinks it's crazy, and part of me is like, I kind of admire it. So I'm torn here. But you do a thing where, like, you find the joy in everything. Like, you literally messaged me last night. You're like, I felt so happy because I'm eating a beef patty and I put like lettuce, iceberg lettuce on it, and like pepper, and it's such a huge treat because it's like iceberg lettuce and pepper. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, but like, it's that I thought was fucking crazy. I'm like, okay, man. But, and that's more like, you tend to like kind of deprive yourself, which I think comes from your Christian upbringings of like, we can talk about that another time or like now. But my question was, you tend to find, like, you purposefully try to find the enjoyment in things. And I'm curious about where that comes from and how you do that.
Yeah, that's a great question. I'll share my thought process. I actually probably don't think that I'm the best at this. I think I'm like better than average enough to make me seem happier, because I actually am happier like more of the time. But basically what I do is I kind of invert that. And the question is, what can I not do up here that would make me, you know, depressed or sad. And it's not that I resist that, it's that I try to basically have a watchdog, or I basically monitor my thoughts as much as I can. And especially recently, and you've helped me, you know, realize this, if a thought is negative and it's unhelpful, right? Like let's say you mess up, like you eat some food in the middle of an official interview and you just mess
I
up.
wouldn't say that's messing up. I'm stopping because of your preference.
So to continue on with this hypothetical.
And let's be clear, it's a hypothetical because I didn't mess up.
Yeah, it's a hypothetical. And you just feel really, really bad about eating some food during your official interview. Then like that's a, you know, that twinge of initial shame or guilt that I'm sure everybody experiences when they do something like that is super, it's useful. But beyond that, you know, beating yourself up and just saying, oh my God, I can't believe I ate food during an official interview. This is terrible. You know, doing something like that. That's not helpful, right?
Yeah.
And so I will give you a tip, and your audience a tip that I don't think we've talked about before, which largely comes from improv. So I've done improv for a year consecutively, or really up until COVID, and that really helps find enjoyment and stuff within everyday life. Because if you can find the game in something, as silly as it might be, or you can find the challenge or the meaning in something, you can switch your perspective. So, for example, at the end of the day, me really liking pepper and a little bit of lettuce on my hamburger, that's a full perspective shift, right? So I've truly embodied that, and for me, it really really is a treat. There's no convincing.
Shift?
So a perspective being like, from my perspective, it is a treat because that's not something I normally eat. For those of you that don't know, as crazy as it sounds, I have a allergy to the vast majority of foods. So it's not so much that, you know, I'm intentionally depriving myself, but it's more so that I'm trying to be on my A game, right? And so choosing to break that a little bit to get some enjoyment in there, like that's a true perspective shift. Like perspective being how you look at something. So just to recap,
it's a
it would
purposeful
be
thing you're doing, right? Or is it
yeah, exactly. So well, that is kind of a byproduct of something else I'm doing, which you're right, which is restricting my food options. So supply and demand, if something is rarer, it's more important, it's more valuable. If you do something all the time, then it's hard to see it as valuable.
Yeah, for some reason I forgot that you
thoughts.
you have to lower your eating to just meat. Because we've had discussions about how you tend to, I forgot, there's a philosophy on it where you forgo bodily pleasures in order to achieve like something greater. I had put both of them together, and you're not eating meat to forgo bodily pleasures. You're eating meat because it's the way that you stay clear, because you have health things. But that's another thing, is that that I don't think that's like our personal call. We can talk about philosophy about that, but I don't know if that's a podcast thing to talk about.
I'm open to whatever, man.
All right,
yeah, whatever you feel comfortable with.
So then, question. We have been on this interesting dichotomy. Like, we're very different people, and in this particular way, because we're similar in a lot of other ways. But in this particular way, I tend to I tend to pull myself towards goals and reward myself and focus on what am I going to do, what do I do to complete the goals, and then give myself positive reinforcement. And you tend to ask yourself, what can I take away to make it easier to do the right thing? So I say, what do I do? And you say, what do I stop doing? And how do I make sure I'm not doing anything else but the goal? And so it's like we're just focusing on the opposite things. And at times, like for instance, there's a thing that you do called hardcore mode, where you don't listen to music with any words. You don't read any entertaining fiction. You don't.
No nonfiction either.
Or entertaining nonfiction, not relevant to your goal. You don't, no YouTube. Oh God, no YouTube. Oh no YouTube, never. No movies. Jesus Christ, like movies? Whoa. No porn. Oh, no porn ever. And not even in hardcore mode, but like ever. So like, that's, not Puritanism, because Puritanism is different. Puritanism is, you can't do it just because, because it's higher order that you can't do it. This is like the idea that, actually, I don't even think this is because, this isn't really why, but let me ask you to explain though. Why do you do that?
Sure.
Why?
Sure. So,
why do you do such things?
Yeah, as you know, but the viewers don't know, I've come a long way. So I definitely used to do kind of what you mentioned before, which is withholding things just to withhold things. And one day, well, actually, it's been a very gradual process. I realized more and more that intentionally withholding things that make me happy without a specific benefit, and just because they feel productive, I've decided isn't a big enough benefit for that. That has changed into what I do now. And so, yeah, let me respond to the hardcore mode thing. So right now, my intention behind hardcore mode is a temporary reset that allows me to take action and avoid of everything else, right? And so it's a way for me to give myself a huge win and actually make it really easy. And the way I think I described it to you is like, it's a fast for my mind, right? Versus before, like there was a time, especially when you and I had just met, where I was trying to do hardcore mode 24/7. Right? Because I was convinced
no words in music, god damn it.
Yeah.
It can't happen.
Exactly.
Words are the fucking devil.
Dude. Well, there is some logic behind that, right? Because if you're subliminally listening to these songs that just talk about like people getting laid and people being sad and not getting laid.
No, you're right. Like I actually, so I purposely don't listen to music that, like there's a music that comes up every now and then on a playlist I love called Useless. And the lyrics go, I feel sad, I feel useless, da da. And I'm like, that's just not a song I want to hear in my mind. Like, what the fuck is this shit? So I always skip that song because like, and I can understand how you, like, I don't want those messages on this song. I think one time you and I were going to record this Money song. Like I was biking. Sasha lent me his bike. This is before I got a car. This is when I was like super poor. And I was like, I'm gonna do like delivery on a bike. Sasha, can I borrow your bike? He was like, yeah. He actually just today he told me he'll give me his bike because he has two and he only uses one of them. So, woo. But or he said indefinitely lend it to me, which is like give it to me, I guess. But and I was just biking, and then I started just kind of saying things, and I was like, there's something about like I was just saying something about making money to the rhythm of me biking, and I was like, this actually sounds good. And I remember I told you that during the mastermind, and you're like, yeah, let's record it, and like it just never happened, and then I forgot what it sounded like.
Yeah, I think we probably met at Sasha's old house. I remember you talking about that. Yeah.
Yeah. And we recorded a couple podcasts that never got released.
I think you even played a small clip of it. I think you had taken a recording of like 20 seconds of the Money song or something like that. Yeah. Good times.
Sasha's a friend of ours who has a band with another friend of ours, and they have good fucking music. I will leave a link to their Spotify thing so y'all can listen to their cool fucking music. They have good shit. So
They do.
Super Jelly is the name of their band. So you do this to reset your mind. It's like a fast, kind of like fast is like reset your hunger reaction, just reset your digestive system. And this is you resetting your reward system, if you will, right? Or your focus.
So
or
it's
both.
really interesting. This belief has just changed this week after reading this.
Oh my goodness!
After reading this book that talked about how to quit porn and make it enjoyable. And I realized that dopamine withdrawal is actually super, super slight, right? It's not like withdrawal from cocaine or anything like that. I mean, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
I'm allegedly guessing.
Yes,
Let's put it that way.
It's exactly like it. It's exactly like it. I'm sorry, I really don't want to like... Cocaine is not something to joke about. I'm just kidding, it is. You can joke about anything. You can joke about anything you want. Fuck that. Yeah, so you're saying dopamine withdrawal is not intense. It's like slight.
It's not. So what it really is, the reason addiction exists most of the time, until you start getting into the really hardcore physical addiction side of things, is it's your mentality, it's your beliefs around that thing. And so actually, if you had asked me a week ago, I would have said, yeah, hardcore mode is a way for me to reset my dopamine receptors. So that when I do hard tasks and get a win, that actually feels like a really big win. This is a pretty common thing now. If you type in dopamine detox into YouTube, you'll get hundreds of videos. But your body actually does upregulate your dopamine receptors when you have huge dumps that are triggered artificially. Like porn is a great example of that, because it's like sex, but you're seeing it on the screen. Video games are a great example of that. If you're playing a first-person shooter and you almost get shot and you shoot somebody else in the face, it's not exactly like you're doing the thing, but your body, even though it's different, your body almost feels like it's actually there. So you're having huge spikes of dopamine and adrenaline and all these things. Basically, this book calls it supernormal stimuli. And it dumps so much dopamine into our system that literally our body has to create extra receptors for that. Or I forget exactly what the book said, but it had something to do with the nervous system and regulating that. So
too much dopamine. It's oversimplifying it, but too much dopamine is schizophrenia. Too little is Parkinson's.
Yeah, but for the average person, that they're never going to go to those extremes, but you know, they can definitely.
But you'll if you have too much in your body and you're not taking it up with receptors, then you might, become a little hallucinogenic.
Yeah. It's, I mean, I don't know, but that's possible, I think. So,
I'm oversimplifying it, and I'm not an expert at all, but that's like the basics of some truth to your brain.
Okay, actually, yeah, I'm going to come out and disagree with that. I don't think that if you just have like a little bit too much dopamine that you'll get hallucinogenic. Because I've been...
you will hallucinate is what I'm saying. I'm not saying... I'm saying like a huge amount. I'm not saying like...
Oh, okay. Like
I'm not saying like... Yeah, I'm not saying you watch porn, like, it'll happen. I'm saying like, if you like inject like something into your blood,
Okay, yeah.
I'm not saying hallucinogenic. I mean like schizophrenic in some way. And I'm not an expert, so I might be... I'm just putting together those pieces of info that I know that's one cause of schizophrenia is too much dopamine in your system. And that's not necessarily mean that this would happen if you did this, to be clear. I'm not a scientist. But anyway, fucking keep going.
Yeah, so to put a bow on the hardcore mode thing, I've realized that it's less, yes, it does reset my dopamine cycle. Good news, spoiler alert, if your body upregulates your receptors and then it takes you more stimulation to be happy, those are greatly reduced if you remove a lot of the supernatural dopamine stimulus within 3 days, and within 2 weeks, it's almost completely reset. So people that talk about having a recurring dopamine addiction, they're really putting too much too much emphasis on that. It's unnecessary. So hardcore mode is a really good way to reset my brain. It's kind of like Marcus Aurelius talks about in meditations, like every now and again wearing the scantest of fare, like wearing super ugly clothes, or just reminding yourself that, hey, these are nice things that I can enjoy, but I can totally go without. I am not these things. So that's the intention now versus before it was some sort of, let me put this into words. Like the word you always use is masochistic, and that's not even wrong, actually, because I was convinced maybe it was my Christian upbringing. I don't know, that penance was a thing, and I was trying to be successful, and so I was really beating myself up over every little thing. And this actually has a term, which again the quitting porn book introduced to me. It's called masturbating. It's where you quit, which is hilarious.
I like it.
Not masturbating, masturbating. And it's
is that where you eat too much mustard?
Pretty much. It's where you,
or you use too much mustard as a lube.
You get guilty because you ate too much mustard, and then you put rules about not eating mustard that are more and more restrictive, which is kind of textbook Rex a year ago. Yes,
100%. I'm glad I want to hear more about this, because this is something that we have argued about for decades.
Fact. So what specific part would you like to hear about?
The masturbating. Like, what have you realized about masturbating?
Oh, so masturbating is essentially
I love that word. I just want to say that 5 times.
It's pretty great. It was basically on a list within the book of logical fallacies or delusions that people have who are quitting porn. And so
I just want to I don't want to interrupt much, but I want to interrupt here because I want to be clear that I believe porn is okay, and for the viewers of this channel, if you're watching porn, make your own choice. Your own choice what you want to do with your life. I think porn can be part of a healthy life, but I want to hear what you have to say, and I also, in this conversation, I'm generalizing how you can apply this information. It doesn't just apply to porn, and but it's useful information. You can put whatever you are doing that you don't want to do into that slot.
Absolutely.
Whether it's porn or something else.
I want to make it clear to the viewers that I think porn is evil, has no benefit, and the society would be better off without it.
Whose channel is this?
Bo Jukoff's channel.
Close enough.
Yeah. So there were some things on this list that people tend to do when they feel guilt. It's different rationalizations, and it's things. It's basically like a logical fallacy. It's a good thing to know what it is so you can catch yourself when you get into that mind state. And that's similar to what I was talking before about monitoring your thoughts. Another one is catastrophizing. So, this happened, everything's over. I'm never going to be loved because I've watched porn or ate a lot of mustard or something like that.
Or like if you're dieting, like oh my god, like I went over my calorie limit one day. I'm gonna be so fat forever the rest of my life, or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I guess there's one more thing I'll say here. There's something called Beck's negative triad, and it explains most people's thoughts that they have that keeps them depressed. And so please do your own research on this. I have personally seen people who were clinically depressed that were able to get out of that disease or get through that disease without medication. And so I believe that there are absolutely types of depression that need to be treated with medication, but I think that also I'm operating from the supposition that the mind is really powerful. In fact, it's everything and how we
I think that I just want to. I've had experience that you can do almost anything without medication, and I mean, if you don't believe that, then you wouldn't apply any of this anyway. You'll just take medication. But I think that almost anybody. I think that psychiatric medication is good to if you're like about to kill yourself and need like it's like a drastic thing. But people anyway. That's a whole nother fucking conversation.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I do want to hear where you're going. I just wanted to interject and kind of mold that part of it.
Yeah, for sure. So just to concisely put my beliefs down, I share Jordan Peterson's belief that if you have a really fucked up life, you should feel like things are fucked up, like at the end of the day. And that's, hopefully going to push you to make better choices. And I don't want to say that I've been depressed before, but because that's a very strong word, but I've been much less happy than I am right now. So anyway, back to negative triad. It's delusions about self, delusions about the world, and delusions about the future. And these are really important things to scan your mind for and make sure that you're not falling into any of these gaps. Delusions about yourself are, I will never be free of this. I will never notice. if you notice self-talk with absolutes, generally speaking, it's delusional, because never and always, that it's not very accurately going to describe your gray existence versus it being black and white like that. So those are some negative beliefs you might have about yourself. The future, right? Nothing's going to get better. Everything's always going to be worse. And then there's beliefs about the world, which is the world is out to get me, or the world is unfair. Which I would argue that the world is unfair to everybody, therefore it is fair. But things like that is important to watch your mind for.
And if you catch these thoughts, then what's wrong about them, or what's not necessarily wrong, what's harmful about them is that A, they're not true, and B, they push you towards negative states of being, like depression and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And it's insidious too, because people don't realize what you get from being a victim and giving up. Like there's a reason why I think a lot of people have issues and enjoy assigning blame to others and enjoy being the victim. And that's because you're free. It's amazing. Nothing is your fault. You don't have to take responsibility for anything. That's why I haven't read the book yet, but Andy, who mentors you, and I've read a significant amount of his stuff, he recommends you don't have the luxury of a negative thought. It's just you don't have negative thoughts or something like that. It's because really, and let me be clear, I don't think that you have control over your thoughts. Maybe some monk could prove me wrong, but I think the vast majority of us plebs can't decide every single thing that enters into our minds. So what I'm talking here is not perpetuating that thought, not latching onto it. And I'm not talking about resisting it either, because this is something that you and I have talked about before. But there's this thing called a positive feedback loop, which its impulse makes the reaction stronger, and then this continues and continues. Stress is one of those things. So you can get stressed and then get stressed out about being stressed, and that makes you more stressed. And so if you have a negative thought, you think, oh, I shouldn't be having this negative thought, or I identify with this negative thought, right? That's going to stress you out. Because I don't identify as somebody who's a negative Nancy the entire time, or sad the entire time. And so that can spiral out of control. For sure.
It's a very wise way to put it in there. It's very wise. I don't really have much. I can't really go further with that except to say it's wise. But I want to fill in the silence because I'm the Mr. Host and I can't just let there be silence. That's irresponsible. So you have read this book in order to become more disciplined. I think that's cool because you have been super disciplined, but it's like you're trying to make these subtle changes in the way you look at the world. and the way that you um, see and interact with things to be more effective.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I mean, a side effect of aligning my mind and my spirit, to
Oh
throw a
shit!
woo-woo term out there,
He said
is
spirit.
I can actually be more disciplined. So, I'm not really giving anything up. I have nothing to lose and everything to gain, is
Mm,
the way I would put it.
it's a good way to put it. It's a good place to be. Um, what are your suggestions for people if they want to um, learn how to be more masters of themselves? Because that's something that I think you're really good at, and you continually get better at. Is you're a master of yourself, and that's a key to creating your own life that fits you like a glove. Is that you have to be a master of yourself
Hmm.
in many ways. So, I guess how can people start that journey, get better at that journey, and just be good at managing themselves?
Yeah, yeah, that's a really good question. And to be clear, that's what my main focus is right now, actually. It's very rare that I watch a lot of productivity stuff or productivity this or that because I've one of my weaknesses is to overanalyze something and then thus not actually do anything, make tangible progress.
Rex,
So,
over analyzing things?
yeah, right.
What?
But a
That's
really
crazy.
easy first step, and I say first step because you can go beyond just clearing your mind, is meditation.
Hmm.
And you and I have talked about this quite a bit about how it allows you to realize that you're not your thoughts. Gaining power over
Hmm.
your environment and switching your brain into a happy brain that you can love and appreciate. I
Happy
definitely think
brain.
happy brain. I definitely think it's important to realize that you're not your thoughts. Number two would be don't fight your thoughts either. Actually, you can find all of this in one place. Sam Harris's Waking Up
Hmm.
does and that's an app, by the way. It does a really good job of walking people through those two different philosophies. And then beyond there, man, I mean, I've got stuff that I could like look up and stuff like that, but I think just paying attention to those two things, that's like the 80% of it. Like that's really all I'm trying to get better at right now at the end of the
Yeah,
day.
cool shit. Well, I am going to ask you to shout out whoever you would like to shout out and say, "Hey, what's up?" It's mom, dad, um, high school girlfriend. I don't know, whoever.
Hey, this is shout out to Danielle Close. You and I had something special. Didn't ask you out. I feel regret. So if you see this video 3 years later, get in touch.
Danielle Close. What's your Instagram so she could get in touch? Or how
I don't
how?
have an Instagram, bro.
Well, what's any? I don't. So what information can you put online? Maybe like your email. I don't want you to put your number on here.
Yeah. ha- she'll know how to get a hold of me
All right, she
if
has
if
your
she sees
info.
this.
All
Yeah,
right,
she's got
cool.
a way.
All right, she's got a way. Cool
If there's a
shit.
will, there's a way.
There's a will, there's a way. All right, Danielle Close, you have been called out and you have been informed. So I hope that works out. Thanks for coming on, my friends. We're gonna do our like own super secret call after this. Y'all should be super jealous. So yeah,
It involves a lot of bromance things.
all those things and philosophizing and shit. Cool shit. All right, bye, peoples. That was really elegant. Hope you enjoyed it. Take a subscribe if this gave you any value. And if you want to, I have a bunch of equipment like this recorder, like this camera and a lens and tripod that is on, etc. in the link description below on Amazon if you want to get any of that for yourself. I get a little kickback. They are affiliate links, and I get some cash money that helps me put more energy into this channel. Till next time, folks.